You are born in Sparta, but survival here does not begin with a battlefield. It begins with the city watching what kind of body you will become. This is not Athens. This is not a city designed around comfort or private softness. Sparta is a military society, and every life is pulled toward its discipline. If you are a citizen woman here, your survival is measured differently, not by the shield line, but by endurance, reputation, household control, and the future of the warrior state. The sources are limited, and many were written by outsiders. But what remains clear is that Spartan women stood apart from much of the Greek world. Where many Greek women were expected to remain mostly inside the household, Spartan women were remembered for public presence, physical training, and a voice that outsiders found unsettling. That visibility was not simple freedom. In Sparta, being seen meant being measured. Your body is expected to be strong because the state believes strength can be inherited, carried, and multiplied through families. Before romance, before comfort, before personal choice, one lesson presses into the stone: weakness is not private. Spartan girls, according to ancient accounts, were trained in running, wrestling, dance, and public exercise. The goal was not pleasure, it was usefulness. To outsiders, it looked shocking. To Sparta, it looked practical, a stronger body for a harder society. But strategy does not make life safe. It only changes the kind of danger you face. Your failures can become public. Your marriage can become political. Your silence can be interpreted before you speak. Sparta's warrior system depended on men in arms, but it also depended on women who could manage estates, households, memory, and expectation. That is the first trap. You may have more space than many women elsewhere, but that space is not peace. Marriage is not a rescue from the city. It is another gate into it. Ancient writers describe Spartan marriage customs as unusual and controlled by social expectation. Whatever the details, the pressure was clear. The households served the state. Your value may be tied to land, lineage, childbirth, and reputation. None of these are soft burdens. In the ancient world, childbirth itself is danger. No modern medicine, no clean hospital, no promise that endurance will be enough. For a Spartan woman, motherhood is never separate from war. It stands beneath helmets, shields, and the expectation that grief must remain controlled. The famous saying is brutal: return with your shield or on it. Whether every mother said it or not, the ideal tells you what Sparta praised. Now imagine living inside that ideal every day, even when no army is visible. Husbands could spend long stretches inside the military world. Campaigns, barracks, training, mess halls. The household could not collapse while they were away. Food still has to be stored. Servants still have to be managed. Land still has to produce. Status still has to be defended. Spartan women could hold and inherit property in ways unusual for many Greek societies. But influence is not safety. Influence makes you visible. Property gives leverage. Leverage draws eyes. In a small warrior society, everyone knows whose household is rising and whose is weakening. The city does not need chains for every kind of control. It uses shame, comparison, ritual, and the fear of losing honor. Survival here is psychological before it is physical. You must look composed when fear is the only thing steady inside you. Luxury is suspicious. Softness is dangerous. Comfort is something Sparta teaches you to distrust. Even the landscape feels like a lesson. Dry hills, hard stone, sharp wind, and mountains that make the city feel sealed inside itself. You learn to read the sky, the mood of the square, the sound of drills, and the silence that follows bad news. The danger is not always a blade. Sometimes it is illness in a stone room, hunger after a poor season, or a message that arrives too late. To survive as a Spartan woman, you need endurance in the places history rarely paints: the room, the courtyard, the storehouse, the waiting door. War is always present, even when the battlefield is far away. It lives in the objects left behind. A wrong word can damage alliances. A failed duty can stain a household. A private weakness can become a public story. Unlike many women in the Greek world, Spartan women were known for confidence. But confidence here is armor, not escape. You are expected to speak sharply, manage firmly, and hold the household as if the entire city is listening. But what happens when the city demands more than the body can give? This is the hidden battlefield. Not Thermopylae, not the shield wall, but the private war against exhaustion. Imagine hearing a war signal from far away. You do not know who has fallen. You only know Sparta will expect composure. News travels slowly, but fear moves faster. In a society built on courage, grief has to wear a disciplined face. If your household gains honor, you rise. If it loses honor, you feel the city's eyes before anyone speaks. Sparta gives you a kind of public strength, but it does not give you permission to be unguarded. Every ritual reminds you that your life belongs to something larger, colder, and older than your fear. The state is not an abstract idea here. It is the stone under your feet, the songs in the square, the expectations at your table. Even beauty is judged through usefulness, a strong body, a controlled voice, a hard mind, treated almost like weapons. And beneath that armor, you are still human. You feel fear. You feel anger. You feel the weight of being praised for never appearing fragile. Survival becomes performance. Stand straight. Speak sharply. Hide pain. Keep the house steady. Then comes the real test. The moment when duty and instinct collide, and no one can decide for you. Do you obey every expectation, even when it consumes you? Do you challenge the silence, knowing the same society that admires your strength may condemn your defiance? Or do you survive the Spartan way, by becoming harder than the fear that shaped you? History often remembers Spartan men as warriors, but the system could not function without women trained to carry pressure in silence. They guarded households while men served the war machine. They guarded property, reputation, memory, and the next generation. And that is why surviving as a Spartan woman was not a softer story. It was a different battlefield. No armor, no shield wall, no songs of glory, just a lifetime of discipline no one allowed you to escape. The danger is that the city teaches you to call suffering strength. And once you believe that, you may survive everything except the part of yourself that wanted mercy. Still, many women did survive, not through comfort, but through strategy, knowing when to speak, when to wait, and when silence could become power. Survival was not one dramatic escape. It was 1,000 controlled moments repeated until endurance became identity. The cruelest truth is this: Sparta did not ask whether you wanted to be strong. It simply left you very few ways to be anything else. If you lived here, your first enemy would not be a soldier. It would be expectation. Your second enemy would be isolation. The outside world may admire Sparta, but admiration does not keep you warm inside its walls. Your final enemy would be time. Years of waiting, managing, enduring, and being remembered only when your strength served the state. So before you answer, forget the polished myths. Forget the bronze statues. Imagine the silence after the door closes. Imagine the city watching, the household depending on you, the war machine turning, and your body becoming the test. Could you endure the discipline, the judgment, the loneliness, and the duty, not for one day, but for a lifetime? Could you survive as a woman in ancient Sparta?